to another episode of Homely Treasures Simple Caribbean Cooking. Today we're going to be making stewed chicken and white rice. Let's add our 5 cups of rice, which is what we're going to be working with today. I am using a medium grain rice because it's the one that I had at home. I usually use this one for the sweet rice and raisin recipe. Arroz con dulce is the one that it is. We can share that one later. Anyways, let's add a large spoon of oil here to our rice pot. And we're going to add salt. This is the one that I use. You can feel free to use whichever salt you have at home, whichever one you prefer. Let's add a little bit of that. We're going to add 5 cups and a half of water for our 5 cups of rice. Let's let that water boil while we rinse our rice. We'll give it a quick stir and just let it sit there on medium-high heat. Have you seen this method of measuring if your rice to water ratio is correct? I don't know that it works or not, but I think it's fun anyways to try it. Let's do a quick sofrito for our chicken. And I will be using just the things that I had in my fridge, nothing fancy. That light green pepper that you see there is called Cubanelle pepper. I also use for this recipe red bell pepper, onions, let's use some fresh garlic. We'll be using cilantro for the sofrito as well. And we're going to rinse just a few stems here because I am making just enough for this recipe, not making enough to save or store for later use. After we rinse that, we're going to add it to our food processor. As you can see here, I ended up making a little bit more than my food processor could handle, but it's no problem. We are still going to work with what we have here. I have already washed the chicken and now I'm going to be adding just a little bit of food coloring. There are many of these that you could try. It's a matter of preference. We're going to add salt, adobo, black pepper, lots of it. I think black pepper helps get rid of that aftertaste of the chicken. Now this is a special seasoning that we found when we went over to a local zoo here in Michigan. I thought it was an interesting name, but it has color, black pepper, and all those things too. It just adds a little bit of extra flavor. That's why I like to use it to season the meats. Now we're going to add a little bit of the sofrito that we made. If you're liking this video so far, consider subscribing and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. To begin our chicken stew, we're going to slice these onions. These are yellow onions. You could use red onions, white onions, any onion that you have at home. And we're going to be slicing the tomatoes as well and just cutting them into little squares. And that's going to be our base. In a pan, we're going to add a little bit of oil. Then we're going to add a little bit of brown sugar. The brown sugar, after it melts, is going to help us give the chicken a very nice golden brown color. So let's just add a little bit. Don't add too much. You don't want the sweet chicken, but just enough to cover the oil there. You can see how soon the sugar is going to be turning dark brown or melting. That's when you know the sugar is ready for the chicken. This is going to be very hot, so be careful when you're pouring or placing the chicken inside the oil. You can see there the oil is going almost everywhere. If you have a splatter screen at home, you could use one of those, but otherwise just be careful not to get burned by the little drops of oil, splatters of oil. Now our rice looks ready to be stirred. The key to a good white rice is to make sure that, or any rice actually, is just to make sure that you're stirring it from the bottom. So don't scrape the bottom. You don't want the sticky rice at the bottom to be lifted. You just want to stir it right on top of that layer. Now you can lower the heat to low or medium low heat. Cover it and just let it finish cooking there. Let's get back to our chicken. We are going to be covering it just to make sure that it's cooking correctly and completely. We're going to be flipping it. And let it there again for about 5 more minutes. You can continue flipping it as you like, just to make sure that it cooks evenly. You can see there that golden color that I was mentioning, and that is all thanks to the brown sugar melting. In a medium pot, we're going to be adding a little bit of vegetable oil. You could also use canola oil or any other oil that you use at your home. Now let's add the rest of that sofrito that we made earlier. This is tomato sauce. I prefer sauce for stews over paste. I like tomato paste for beans, but for a more watery, I guess, consistency, I prefer to use tomato sauce. Let's add a little bit of salt to this. Adobo. And again, you can just use whatever you have at home to season this stew. We're going to be adding in the onions that we sliced and the tomatoes as well. To give this stew a little bit more color, I'll be adding a little bit of food coloring here. There are plenty, again, different brands, different ingredients that you could just find the one that works best for you, as long as you give that food some color. Let's add in some olives, green olives. And now it's time to add the chicken that we had previously set aside. Add a little bit of water and then just let it cook there. If you think it needs more water, you can just add a little more. If you think it's too watery, you can add more tomato sauce, or you can add mashed potato flakes, and that will help thicken it up a little bit too. We have reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends so that they can learn how to make stewed chicken with white rice. Thank you so much again, and I will see you next time. But for now, stay sabroso.